You know, for the longest time, when we talked about ALS research, it was always about one thing, the hunt for the next drug. But that's not the whole story anymore, not even close. What we're seeing today is something so much bigger. We're talking about a complete overhaul of the system of discovery itself, a total redesign of how we even begin to look for treatments for one of the toughest diseases out there.
And that really gets to the heart of it, right? It brings us to this central question that's driving this entire revolution. When you're up against a disease that moves so relentlessly, so fast, well, just working harder isn't going to cut it. You have to work smarter. You literally have to change the rules of the game. And believe me, that's exactly what the ALS community is doing right now.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll talk about why ALS is such a unique challenge and why things had to change. Then we'll look at the old, outdated system that was slowing everything down. After that, we're diving straight into the research revolution itself, the smarter, faster trials, the incredible collaborations making it happen, and we'll wrap up with what this all really means, hope. But a new kind of hope, one that's built on solid science.
Okay, so to really get why this revolution is so important, you first have to understand the opponent. And ALS, well, it's just not like other diseases. It moves incredibly fast, which means patients don't have the luxury of time to wait for the next breakthrough. On top of that, the patient population is pretty small, which makes finding people for clinical trials a huge challenge. And to make it even tougher, biologically, it's super complex. It looks different in different people. So you've got this perfect storm of challenges. And the old way of doing research, it just wasn't equipped to deal with it. So let's talk about that outdated system. For decades, medical research was, well, it was a one-way street, a very slow one-way street. You'd find a compound that looked promising, you'd test it against a placebo, and then you'd wait for years. And if it failed, guess what? You're right back at square one, starting the whole thing over again. This one drug at a time approach, it was a massive roadblock for a community that was absolutely racing against time.
And this is where you can really see the problem, right? It's a total mismatch. On the one hand, you have this slow, rigid, years-long process. On the other, you have ALS, a disease that demands speed, flexibility, and just moving faster. Patients can't afford to wait years for one drug to fail just so the next one can get its turn. It's like trying to put out a wildfire with a garden hose. The system wasn't broken because the science was bad, not at all. It was broken because it was the completely wrong tool for this specific fight.
So that massive mismatch, that's what sparked the turning point. This is where everything starts to change. People, researchers, doctors, patients, everyone realized they couldn't just keep looking for the next drug. They had to rethink the entire process of how they were looking. And this wasn't just a minor tweak. No, this was a complete shift in philosophy. And it all started with a single, game-changing question. A real what-if moment. What if a clinical trial wasn't this rigid, one-and-done experiment? What if it could be a living, breathing thing? A dynamic system that could learn and adapt as it goes, that could speed things up and test a bunch of ideas at the same time. Wow, just thinking about that. Well, answering that question is what unlocked this incredible wave of innovation that's completely reshaping ALS research today. All right, so this new way of thinking led to a whole new toolkit full of smarter, faster ways to test treatments. And it all kicks off with one of the biggest, most transformative ideas to hit medical research in a long time. And that idea is the platform trial. Seriously, this is brilliant. So forget that old single-lane road where only one drug could be tested at a time. Picture a multi-lane superhighway. That's a platform trial. You're testing multiple drugs all at the same time under one big umbrella. People who join are assigned to one of the different treatments. And here's a key part. They often use a shared placebo group. That means a higher chance for any given participant to get an actual active drug. And maybe the best part? When a new promising drug comes along, you can just add a new lane to the highway without having to rebuild the whole thing from scratch.
So you can see why this is such a game changer, right? I mean, for speed and efficiency, it's night and day. You're taking multiple shots on goal at once, which saves a ton of time and money. The whole thing is adaptable too. If a drug isn't working, you can drop it early. If one looks promising, you can focus more on it. It just creates so many more opportunities for patients to get involved. In the Healy ALS platform trial, that's the perfect real-world example of this amazing model in action.
Okay, another huge piece of this puzzle is something called a biomarker. It sounds technical, but the idea is actually pretty simple. Think of it like a biological signal, like a check engine light for your body. It could be a certain protein level in your blood or spinal fluid, and it gives researchers this incredible little window into what's actually going on inside, at a molecular level. It's a way to measure the disease, or see if a drug is working, without just looking at outward symptoms.
And this is where their power really shines. I mean, think about it. The old way, you might have to wait months, even years, to see if a drug actually improves someone's physical abilities. But with a biomarker like neurofilament light chain, which is a telltale sign of nerve damage, you can see if a drug is having a biological effect way, way sooner. That potential to just slash trial timelines, it's enormous.
So, with all these new tools, genetics, imaging, biomarkers, you get a new problem. Just a mountain of data, an absolute overload of information. And that is where AI steps in. Artificial intelligence is incredible at combing through these massive data sets to spot patterns a human researcher might never see. It can help match the perfect patient to the perfect trial. It can even help predict how one person's disease might progress, which makes the results of the trial so much more accurate and powerful.
What's really cool is that these new, smarter trial systems open the door for super targeted treatments, like gene therapy and antisense therapy. Both are trying to fix the problem right at the source. Here's a simple way to think about it. Gene therapy is like trying to fix a typo in the original blueprint, the DNA. Antisense therapy is a little different. It doesn't change the blueprint, but it intercepts the messages being sent from it, basically turning down the volume on the production of a harmful protein. For the types of ALS that are tied to specific genes, this is a huge leap towards true precision medicine.
But here's the thing. None of this amazing technology, none of these new trial designs would work in a vacuum. Maybe the biggest shift of all has been cultural. It's this move away from isolated labs, each doing their own thing, and toward a truly collaborative research ecosystem. And this whole new world is being powered by some incredible large-scale initiatives.
A great example is Answer ALS. Their mission is incredible, to build one of the biggest, most detailed ALS data sets on the planet. They collect and then share massive amounts of data from patients. We're talking genetic, clinical, biological, everything. They're basically creating a huge open-source library of information, giving researchers all over the world the raw materials they need to make the next big discovery.
And then you've got groups like Target ALS. You can think of them as a facilitator, a connector. Their whole purpose is to break down those old walls between different research institutions. They do it by providing shared tools, funding, and helping to forge partnerships. It's all about open science and accelerating that journey from a discovery in a lab to a real treatment in a clinic.
And this is where it all comes together. A project like the Healy ALS platform trial isn't just a trial. It's really the embodiment of this whole new ecosystem we've been talking about. It's collaborative, it's efficient, it's built for speed, it's literally setting a new standard for how we develop drugs, not just in ALS, but for other diseases too.
So, when you take a step back and look at all of this, what does it all mean? Well, it means there's been a massive shift in what hope looks like for the ALS community. Look, we don't have a cure yet, but the process of finding one, that has been completely and totally revolutionized.
This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? The tools that researchers have today, things like large-scale genetic analysis, advanced biomarkers, AI, 20 years ago, this stuff was pure science fiction. The engine of discovery isn't just turned on anymore, it's accelerating, and it's picking up speed every day.
And this right here is the most important thing to take away. For the ALS community, hope isn't some fuzzy, abstract wish for the future anymore. It's something you can actually see and touch. It's found in the real, tangible progress of a smarter trial being launched, a new data set being shared, or a new collaboration breaking down another barrier. It's hope that's grounded in the steady, relentless pace of real science.
And that leaves us with a final, and I think really powerful thought. This revolution, it was never about just one drug or one single discovery. It was about building a better, faster, smarter engine to find all the discoveries. And with that engine now humming, running at full throttle, the question has changed. It's no longer if a breakthrough will come, it's what will it be and how soon.